welcome to Banned Book Weeks. We're glad to see you all here. And Banned Book Weeks is part of the American Library Association, and it has been generally this week every year since 1982. And this celebrates our freedom to choose and the freedom to express ourselves and one's opinion, no matter how unorthodox or unpleasing an opinion may be. And this is based on our First Amendment. I'm going to read the First Amendment just so we all know what we're talking about. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So, books have been banned and challenged as far back as Plato. I found this little statement that Plato was talking about what would make an ideal republic. And Plato said, our first business will be to supervise the making of fables and legends, rejecting all of which are unsatisfactory. So even in 360 BC, the beginning of banning and challenging started. The very most famous case that really set part of the tone for this started in really 1975 when the Island Trees School District versus Pico. Pico? Do we think that's how we say it? I think so. They had a list of books, a whole list of books that they found objectionable. And this case went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the list of books contained such titles as The Fixer by Bernard Mahmoud, Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut Jr. So those are the types of titles that were in there. The Naked Ape, Desmond Morris. Best Short Stories of Negro Writers by Langston Hughes is another title that was in this objectionable list. And the Supreme Court ruled that local school boards may not remove books from school library shelves simply because they dislike the ideas contained in these books, and further, the rights of students are directly and sharply implicated when a book is removed from a school library. So having made clear why we're here for this week in our readings, I want to start. Our very first reader is auspicious for us. Milner Library is hosting a National Endowment of the Humanities exhibit through October, and it is based on John Adams' library. And one of the books that was very important to John Adams is Common Sense. And you can see it is a very surprising relationship that John Adams and Thomas Paine had. And here to tell us about this is Vivian Carter. Vivian is a retired librarian, and she is representing Twin City Tailspinners, and this is Abigail Adams.
Okay. See if I can get myself organized here. When my husband John first saw Thomas Paine's Common Sense, he was delighted because Thomas Paine was encouraging people to rebel against the British government. And this was exactly what John wanted people to do, really patriot. However, he really was upset when he got to the part of Common Sense where Thomas Paine was describing the kind of government that we should have. And this is what Thomas Paine says. Let the assemblies be annual, with the president only. The representation should be equal and their business wholly domestic. Let each colony be divided into 6, 8, or 10 convenient districts. Upside down. Okay. So this represents each of the colonies. And down here we have the general electorate. Okay. Each colony should send at least 30 representatives. And here are those representatives here. And they should have at least 390 of those. Each Congress is to choose a president by the following method. You're supposed to take out one colony by lot. And after that, then the whole Congress chooses by ballot a president from the delegates of that province. So we have this one province that's taken out. And then that person becomes president over here. And then, in the next Congress, let a colony be taken by lot from 12 only, omitting the colony which had a president taken in the former Congress, so that proceeding on until the whole 13 will have had their proper rotation. And in order that nothing may pass into law but what is satisfactorily just, not less than 3/5 of the Congress is to be called a majority. He that will promote discord under a government so equally formed as this would have joined Lucifer in his revolt. I want to read you a couple of John's objections to this particular form of government, which he published in his own booklet called Thoughts on Government. A single assembly is liable to all the vices, follies, and frailties of an individual, subject to fits of humor, starts of passion, flights of enthusiasm, partialities, or prejudice, and consequently productive of hasty results and absurd judgments. All these errors ought to be corrected and defects supplied by some other controlling power. A single assembly is apt to grow ambitious, and after a time will not hesitate to vote itself perpetual. This was one fault of the Long Parliament, but more remarkably of Holland, whose assembly first voted themselves from annual to septennial, and then for life, and after a course of years that all vacancies, happening by death or otherwise, should be filled by themselves, without any application to constituents at all. And now I just want to remind you how our legislative bodies are actually formed as in the Constitution. The United States House of Representatives is commonly referred to as the House. The composition and powers of the House are established in Article 1 of the Constitution. Each state receives representation in the House in proportion to its population, but is entitled to at least one representative. The most populous state, California, currently has 53 representatives. The total number of voting representatives is currently fixed at 435. Each representative serves for a 2-year term. The presiding officer of the House is the Speaker and is elected by members of the House. The composition and powers of the United States Senate are also established in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Each U.S. state is represented by 2 senators, regardless of population. This ensures equal representation of each state in the Senate. Senators serve staggered 6-year terms. The Vice President officially presides over the Senate. However, the Vice President only exercises this power during ceremonies or in the event of a tie. The Senate Majority Leader actually presides when the Vice President is absent, which is almost always. Although that was not true when my husband was the Vice President. He was almost always there.